Hi, everybody. I'm Holly Harris here at Don Odell's Legends, sitting with Tommy Castro. And a little bit later, we're going to hear Tommy Castro and the Painkillers. So happy to be here today. Let's find out what he's been up to with his brand new CD, Method to My Madness. So happy to see you, and I'm thank you for coming.
I know, long time no see.
Long time no see. And here we are in the middle of Massachusetts. You're in between places. I know you were in Rhode Island, you were in New York, and you're going to be at Johnny D's in Somerville. How long is this tour?
Altogether, it was, including the blues cruise, it would be about 6 weeks.
Wow. How was that cruise? Fabulous?
That's amazing. it's always amazing every time. And every time you go on another one, you're thinking, oh, this one was really amazing. And then you go on another one, you're like, wait a minute, this one was really amazing.
This one too.
But this one was, it went to New Orleans.
Oh my goodness.
So it starts in Florida, went to Key West and around and up the Mississippi River to New Orleans. I mean, you actually had a cruise ship going up the river for a while, a few hours. I think you're cruising up the Mississippi.
Did you get off and have a party? Did I hear that somewhere?
Well, yeah, they
People
always
get
do
off
that.
and
They always get off and have parties, and wherever the boat stops, they do little events on land. And I think there was a record store in New Orleans. Everybody had a little event.
Sounds great.
They did some performance there, and they sold CDs there, and they just do stuff.
It sounds great. The whole thing sounds great. And you were just were you in New York too, just recently?
Not recently.
Not this trip.
No,
Okay.
we're on there. No, we're going there.
Okay, so I knew I've been looking at the tour.
New York.
Yes,
just like Jimmy Reed.
This is going to be fun. This is like this is a fun tour. And then when do you head back to California?
Just about the 1st of December.
Okay. Very, very cool. Well, listen, I want to talk about this brand new CD, Method to My Madness. It's a wonderful CD. I have all your CDs here, many of them, but each tune on here is fabulous.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I truly, truly love it. And I actually think, I want to talk about this in a second. I actually think the first tune, Common Ground, could be a real theme song for somebody, a great politician, somebody really good that could lead this country. I think it's a great tune.
Yeah, I do too. I have an idea too. I try to keep, try to keep my politics out of my music as much as possible. But I definitely have somebody in mind.
Very, very cool. So let's talk about this. How is your CD, this one, different from some of the others? I brought some of the others. I know, last year and The Devil You Know, and I even have, some of these. Tommy Castro, this one. Tell me how this one is different for you and the music on here.
Well, that really is the method to my madness, is that whether it's a good idea or a bad idea, I don't know, but I am compelled to make a different kind of record every time. I really don't want to repeat myself. I mean, I've done that, I feel like, all along. I mean, early on, and maybe our first 2 or 3 releases, we were just starting out. There was lots of lots of music coming at my brain, and I really wasn't consciously trying to make each record different, but it just kind of naturally was going that way.
It's an evolution.
And I noticed as I listened to other artists that I like and pay attention to what's going on, that sometimes people get into a formula, and then every record is very similar to the last one, but the songs are different. So I try to keep it fresh for me, for my band, and for hopefully for my audience.
I think you did, and this one it's so special for a lot of reasons. Aside from each song is incredible, and I know you've been co-writing and one with Joe Louis Walker, but I'm a dancer. This is a dance CD. I mean, there's a couple of great slow ones, but I just keep hearing. I want to move to all the tunes.
Well, that's our R&B influence.
Yeah.
I've always been a soul guy. I mean, I'm a blues guy, but I'm a soul guy, and I mean soul music. Classic soul music.
Totally.
I'm seriously. I don't know where it happened along the way, but probably I remember growing up in in San Jose, California, and it was a good lowrider scene, you know, in the East San Jose where I grew up, and you would see guys would drive by in their cars with the windows down and the stereos just blasting, but it would be you know, Junior Walker and the All Stars, or Wilson Pickett, you know.
And can they jump that thing and make it move? Those lowriders.
And I was a hippie kid, you know, and so I was really, you know, my friends and I were listening to Michael Bloomfield and you know, Cream or whatever the great, you know, blues rock thing was going on at the time, the Stones or whatever. And I secretly really dug the soul music, you know, that all the Vatos were listening to.
Yeah. Did you go to the Fillmore West?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
sure.
I mean, you must have gone there and heard. But your influences are incredible. Can you name some of, aside from Bloomfield, can you name some of the other guitar players? You started at a very early age with guitar.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
I was about 10 years old, and my brother was in a band. He started a rock and roll band, you know, basically doing you know, top 40 covers of all the hits on the radio and stuff, but it was all great rock and roll.
Yeah.
I mean, they're playing the Animals and the Bo Brumbles and you know,
Mitch Ryder.
Mitch Ryder. You go on and on. I mean, you know, most of the music at that time was kind of British invasion stuff, you know, that they were doing. Beatles and Stones and whatnot, and I just fell in love with the whole idea of a live band, you know, and I would hang around every chance, and whenever they were rehearsing, I'd be hanging around.
You're the little brother.
And when my brother was gone, I'd be playing his guitar, man.
This is a great story. There's a lot of little brother, little sister stories like that, and you are the people that have gone on to become the musician. So that's great. What's your favorite kind of guitars? What do you play?
I play, right now, I'm playing a guitar that I put together from parts, but I've actually had a professional guitar tech put it together for me. But I had an idea for a guitar, and I found a website where you can order the body style you want, and the neck that you want, and the pickups that you want, and just, you know, your dream guitar. And
sounds perfect.
I don't know if it's my dream guitar, but it covers all the bases that I need to in my show without changing guitars all the time. So
you know, that's a great idea.
I'm going to call it a Castro Caster.
I love that.
I keep forgetting to make the decal.
Definitely, it's a great thing to do. But it really represents you. I mean, when you're talking about all the different kinds of music and each thing being new and growing, I like that, the Castro Caster. I think that's great.
But
wow,
I played
cool.
an old Fender Stratocaster for a really long time, and it's kind of sentimental to me, and I don't want to carry it around anymore. And and I don't know if it's because of all of the wireless that is in the world now, but those things really, they've always been noisy. The single coil pickups have always been noisy, but now they're like every room that we go into, it's noisy, and you can hardly play it. I don't know what guys are doing with single coil pickups these days, but I had to make everything what they call humbuckers or stacked pickups.
Well, okay, all right.
But it cuts down on the noise. Still has some great tones, you know.
And you don't have to lug around 6 guitars. People lay them out on their bed and go, "These are my babies," and they'll all be with me.
Yeah, right now I got 2
show.
guitars on the road. One just in case I break a string, you know. And then on the last album, I played slide on a few songs, and so I want to get back to that. But right now, we're concentrated on this album.
Yeah,
and so
I
chose not to bring the extra guitars around, and because my set list is, you know, there's so many songs from over the years that people want me to play, and then there's all the new stuff that I need to get in.
Right.
And so really not doing a whole lot from just the last record.
So let's talk about this. There's 12 tunes on here, and I know you love them all, because I certainly love them all. Any that you'd like to start? Let's talk about, certainly maybe the title track, Method to My Madness.
Okay. Well, Method to My Madness is like, my process is real, it's pretty straightforward. You know, I go around and I do my life, and I keep my ears open, and I'm not out there looking for song ideas every day, but they come at you, you know. And I try to remember, write them down, or nowadays more often I'll make a note on my phone, because I've always got that. You know, I may not have a pencil and paper handy, but you could go on your voice memo on your phone and just say something. You could hum a melody, an idea for a title or whatever. So I found a window of time to go in and record, and I kind of backed everything up, and started planning out getting some songs finished, ideas that I've had, and I got together with my friend Kevin Bowe in Minneapolis while we were on the road. I took a day and went and hung out with him, and we wrote Method to My Madness and Common Ground.
They're fabulous. And Died and Gone to Heaven, what a love song. Oh, I cried when I hear that. Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah. It's really incredibly romantic.
I'm in love.
Yeah.
I can, I have a beautiful woman that I've been with for the last 7 years now, and at my age, I've had a number of relationships in the past, and made a lot of mistakes, and I wouldn't want to call them all mistakes, but I made better choices.
The right
I made a better
for you.
choice this time as I was more of an adult, and a little bit more grown up, and a little bit. I think I know a little bit more about life, and
You're ready for each other.
what's good for me, and the kind of I feel like I attracted the kind of person that was just a great partner for me.
I think that's a great way to say it. You attracted the right person, and you were ready at the same time, and well, good.
Yeah,
Well,
and it's a huge surprise to
feel
me. I would
this.
never expected it to work out so well, because like I say, in the past, they didn't work out so well.
Well, the timing was good, as they say.
It's not everybody else's fault either, I'm no
right.
saint.
Right.
But I just, I just really, it had been, let's see, it'd been a while since I wrote a good, mushy love song.
It was really cool.
And that's something worth mentioning on this record. There's a couple things that I wanted to do that I haven't done. And one of them was write a new ballad. I always use, Maureen as my subject matter, for something like that. And then I also wanted to get into a couple of just straight ahead blues things, I didn't do any shuffles on the last record, not a single shuffle.
No, you're right.
And I don't even realize that till I go back later on and go, wow, I didn't even realize that I make a blues album with not even a single shuffle on there. The Blues Police are going to come after me. And so I said, I consciously did, I wanted to do a tribute to B.B. King, so that was Bad Luck.
Man, that is unbelievable. That's the 12th tune on here. It's a wonderful tune. It's a great tune.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite, and I really love the sound of BB's voice when he was younger days. He sang in a
70s,
higher
mid-70s.
register a lot, and I loved his voice his whole life. I've seen him many times, and I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, me
but
too.
I really love that old stuff that I wasn't really around for.
Early. Well, as I mentioned, I had just came back from the B.B. King Museum, and I saw about 2 weeks ago after the King Biscuit Festival, and I saw where he was laid to rest, and there's no headstone yet, but some of my friends actually, were there for the tribute when it was incredibly moving, and it was such a beautiful museum, and they really have, civil rights stuff and history. It's so worth it. So we were coming out of there. I went with my good friends from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and we were so moved coming out of there. And they'd been there several times. There was construction, and we were talking, and all of a sudden, an hour later, my friend says, "This doesn't look familiar." I said, "Oh, we were probably just there at night." She goes, "No, it doesn't look familiar." I said, "Well, that sign says, 'Welcome to Arkansas.'" Oh, no. We were taking a left instead of a right. We were heading back to Louisiana. We're like, BB. So we took a nice tour. And we went through Rolling Fork, where Muddy was born, and ended up in Vicksburg, and it worked out. It was meant to be, because Mississippi has no road signs. As much, I love it, but there's no road signs driving through the cotton fields.
Wow.
So yeah, it was very, very special. So I'm a huge BB fan, and that's the reason I got into blues. So that struck me. The other tune, I love them all. Certainly the one you co-wrote with Joe Louis Walker, Lose. Oh, that's killer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Joe and I were standing outside of a hotel. I think it was in Canada for some reason. I seem to remember. He was leaving and I was coming or something like that. We just stopped and talked for a minute, because we worked together a couple of times. He did my legendary rhythm and blues review a few times.
Right.
And so I actually got to go on the road with them on our bus and hang out, and we're good friends. And we had this conversation. And I don't even remember which one of us said, "That's a lose-lose situation." and we both kind of looked at each other like, "That's a song title."
Yeah, and it is, absolutely.
And we made we agreed to write that song one day, right there on the spot. We go, "We're going to write that song." I said, "Okay." So I run into him again months later or a year later. I can't remember when it was, and we're like, "We're going to write that song." "Yeah, that's right. We're going to write that song." Anyway, this went on for a while, and we never did get together to write it. So I finally resorted to just, I'm getting ready to do this record. I want to finish this song. And Joe and I are just not going to be able to get in the same room together. Right. So I said, "Listen, send me any ideas you have for a lyric, anything."
That's great.
And he said, I'm in the middle of this, and I'm in the middle of that. I'm going on tour to Europe, and he had all these things. He was making a record at the same time. I think he was working on a record of his own, and he was like, "Man, I really, as soon as I can, I'm going to give this some thought, and I'll send you somebody." Of course, he really never had the time.
Yeah.
So I finished it up. And I gave him credit just the same because we were there. We were in on it together.
You were in on it.